The sun hovered low over the dusty village of Amuaka, casting long shadows across the courtyard where Adaora's white casket sat, untouched, unburied. It had been 8 days, 8 long, unbearable days. Mourners came and went, shaking their heads, whispering behind wrappers and hats. No one dared say it aloud, but everyone was thinking the same thing. Why hasn't she been buried? Her mother's cries pierced the silence like a blade. She lay sprawled on the floor beside the coffin, pounding her fists against the earth. "My Adaora, my only child," she screamed. But it was her father, Panwankwo, who made the chilling declaration that kept the burial frozen in time. "She will not enter the ground until I know what killed her," he thundered, his voice echoing off the compound walls. "I want the truth. Let her spirit rest only when justice is done." A quiet unease spread like oil through the crowd. Some said it was a curse. Others swore they heard strange noises at night, Adaora's voice crying. A few dared whisper the most terrifying rumor of all. Obinna used her for ritual, and so her coffin remained, closed, cold, waiting for a confession that might never come. 5 years ago, Adaora's wedding to Obinna was the kind every village girl dreamed of. The groom, a tall, handsome businessman from Lagos with a voice like velvet and a wallet to match, had swept her off her feet. The entire village of Amuaka danced for 3 days. Even the elders said it was a match made by the gods. Obinna came bearing gifts, bags of rice, crates of wine, a new generator for church. And when Adaora left with him for Lagos, wrapped in a shimmering gold-laced dress, her smile stretched from ear to ear. Her parents beamed with pride. "She has entered her palace," they said. And for a while, it looked like she had. Photos flooded her WhatsApp status. Her by a swimming pool, her in a car with leather seats, her shopping in Lekki malls. She looked happy, radiant, fulfilled, but then the update stopped. She stopped coming home for Christmas, stopped calling as often. When she finally visited one Easter, the village noticed. Her once full cheeks were hollow. Her eyes, always so bright, now carried shadows. Her laughter, once loud and infectious, had become faint rehearsed. "Lagos stress," she told them, brushing off the concern. But even Chioma, her closest friend, noticed something deeper. A tiredness beyond fatigue. A sadness buried beneath lipstick. "Is he treating you well?" Chioma asked in a hushed voice. Adaora paused, then smiled that too perfect smile. "He loves me." But her hands trembled when she said it. From that moment, something shifted in the hearts of those who truly knew her. They couldn't put a name to it then, but something was wrong. Something was unraveling beneath the silk curtains and chandelier lights of Adaora's so-called palace. And no one, not even Adaora herself, was ready for what was coming. Chioma had been counting down to the visit for weeks. She missed Adaora terribly. So when she arrived at the Lekki mansion that hot Saturday morning, her arms were wide open, her smile even wider. But Adaora didn't smile back. She looked thinner, alarmingly so. Her once vibrant skin seemed dull, her eyes sunken like someone who hadn't slept in days. As they hugged, Chioma felt it, a flinch. Adaora winced just for a second. It was subtle, but it was there. Later, while Adaora changed into a blouse, Chioma's eyes caught a glimpse of purple bruises across her ribs. Long, thin, like whiplash. "What happened?" Chioma asked, voice shaking. Adaora froze, then pulled her blouse down and laughed lightly. "Ah, this staircase nearly killed me last week," she said, waving it off. "Obinna has been begging me to fix it. I'm just lazy." But Chioma wasn't convinced. She'd known Adaora since primary school, knew every twitch, every fake giggle. And this one was drenched in fear. Their conversation was short-lived. Obinna appeared in the doorway, his smile too tight, eyes too sharp. He asked too many questions, stayed too long in the room. Every time Chioma tried to speak freely, his shadow loomed. He didn't trust her, and Chioma couldn't trust him. She cut her visit short, citing traffic. As she entered the Uber, her heart pounded. She glanced back once, watching Adaora wave from the balcony, that same too perfect smile plastered on her face. Something was off, something terrible. As the car turned the corner, Chioma whispered to herself, "She's in trouble." And the worst part? She didn't know how to help, because whatever was happening behind those grand glass windows wasn't just pain. It was a secret someone was willing to kill to protect. It happened on a rainy Thursday morning, just 2 weeks before now. Obinna said Adaora had slumped in the kitchen while preparing breakfast. Said it happened without warning, that she just collapsed. His voice cracked as he told the neighbors, his hands shaking. The doctor said it was a stroke. He kept repeating, but something didn't sit right. Dr. Ogendype, the local physician who examined her body, didn't like what he saw. There were small needle marks along her arm, faint but fresh, unusual bruising around her neck, discoloration beneath her fingernails. None of it aligned with a stroke. Quietly, he pulled Adaora's younger brother aside after consultation. "This was not natural," he whispered. "I can't say for certain, but you should ask for a full autopsy. Don't let this pass." That was when the storm truly began. The family gathered. Adaora's father, Panwankwo, demanded answers. "We want an autopsy done," he told Obinna coldly. Obinna refused. Instantly, vehemently. Claimed it would be an insult to Adaora's memory. Claimed it was unnecessary. "She was under stress," he said. "She's been sick for months." But no one could remember Adaora ever complaining about sickness. The argument escalated. Shouts, accusations. Obinna stormed out of the compound. Hours later, he returned with a death certificate from Lagos General Hospital. Cause of death, stroke. The case was closed. Or so he thought. The family reluctantly brought her body home to Amuaka, but the mood was heavy. Something was wrong, deeply wrong, and her father refused to ignore it. He stood over her casket on the first day of mourning and declared, "No one will put my daughter in the ground until I know what truly ended her life. No sand will touch her coffin until the truth does." Gasps rippled through the mourners. Some thought he was grieving madly. Others knew exactly what he meant, because the look on Adaora's face, even in death, wasn't peace. It was fear. The whisper started like a breeze, gentle, almost harmless. But within days, they became a storm. Obinna's name began to travel in hushed tones through every corner of Amuaka and beyond. Market women paused mid-sale to exchange wide-eyed glances. Church elders muttered during prayer meetings. Children were warned not to say his name after dark. Obinna was involved in something dark, one voice whispered. He visited a shrine in Okija every month, said another. Then came the first real crack. A former houseboy, Emeka, barely 20, who had worked for Obinna for a year, returned to his village in fear. He hadn't said much until Adaora's death. Now, with trembling lips and darting eyes, he confessed to the local catechist. "I saw things," Emeka muttered. "Midnight meetings with men in red cloths, garments soaked in blood, goat or human, I can't say. He told me never to ask questions, never to enter the East Wing after 10 p.m. One time I disobeyed, and I wish I hadn't." The town was no longer silent. Neighbors began to piece things together. Adaora had once told Mama Njidika, an old widow next door, "Sometimes I feel like something is draining my soul, like I'm fading." She had laughed afterward, brushing it off. But Mama Njidika had never forgotten those words. Then, during Sunday's service, the local prophet, Prophet Anin, stood suddenly during the final hymn. His eyes rolled back and his voice boomed. "Her blood speaks," he cried. "Adaora's spirit cannot rest. The truth must come out. There's a price paid, and it was not money. Until justice is done, her soul will linger." Gasps echoed through the congregation. A few people ran out. Others began to cry. Whatever had been hidden was clawing its way to the surface. Obinna hadn't just lost a wife. He had invited something into his home, and now it was refusing to leave quietly. Obinna was cracking, and it was obvious to everyone. Once smooth-talking and composed, he now looked like a man haunted. His clothes hung looser. His eyes darted at shadows. He spoke fast, paced faster, and snapped at anyone who questioned him. The weight of suspicion was beginning to choke him. On the 6th day of mourning, he stormed into Adaora's family compound, face flushed with rage. The mourners scattered. He pointed a shaking finger at Pa Nwankwo. "You must bury her. This madness must end. Do you want her spirit to curse us all?" Pa Nwankwo didn't flinch. He simply looked at him and said, "Confess first." That was when Obinna lost control. He slammed his fist on the table, cursed the entire family, and stormed out. But it was too late. People had seen him unravel, and the media had caught wind. Journalists from Lagos arrived the next day. A well-known blog posted a thread. Inside Obinna's empire, blood, betrayal, and the price of wealth. They dug deep, revealing his sudden business rise 5 years ago, questionable partnerships, and 3 mysterious deaths tied his first company. Then someone no one knew who leaked a page from Adaora's private diary. In delicate cursive, it read, "He says I belong to him completely. Sometimes I feel like I'm already gone. If anything happens to me, start with him." The image of that page flooded WhatsApp groups, news channels, and church pulpits. It was no longer just a family matter. Obinna stayed locked in his mansion after that. But the damage had already been done. The world now watched in the way a village watches a snake, cornered, exposed, and just desperate enough to strike. On the 8th night, something shifted. It started with whispers from the mourners, old women who claimed they couldn't sleep. They spoke of dreams where Adaora stood in the rain, barefoot, drenched, reaching out with trembling hands. "Tell them I'm not at rest," she would whisper, her voice cracking like dry leaves. "Tell them to ask him." A young boy, barely 10, ran into the compound crying the next morning. He said he had seen Adaora walking near the riverbank just before dawn, wearing the same white wrapper from her wake. Her feet didn't touch the ground. Her eyes were glowing. The elders scoffed at first, but then came the chickens. 2 were brought for the burial rites. Strong, healthy, loud. But as soon as the priestess raised her knife, both birds dropped dead without a scratch. Their necks twisted unnaturally, blood leaking from their eyes. Silence fell over the courtyard. That night, the coffin began to shake. Not a rattle, a thud, then another. Someone screamed. People rushed out of their rooms, flashlights quivering in their hands. The shaking stopped the moment they approached, but no one slept afterward. By morning, they had no choice. A spiritualist from another village was brought in, a wrinkled woman with white chalk smeared across her face. She sat beside the casket in silence, eyes closed, fingers trembling. Then, in a voice that wasn't hers, she said, "She was exchanged, not killed. Her soul is trapped between." Everyone froze. She calls out every night, but until the one who bound her speaks, she cannot cross. No one breathed. Even the birds seemed to stop chirping. Whatever this was, it had gone beyond justice. It was now a war between the living and the dead. The 10th day arrived, heavy with heat and tension. The compound buzzed with anxious silence, until Obinna appeared at the gate, uninvited. His white shirt clung to his soaked skin, torn at the collar. His eyes were bloodshot, darting wildly. He looked like a man running from something invisible, yet dangerously real. Gasps rippled through the mourners as he stumbled forward, lips moving without sound. He dropped to his knees before Pa Nwankwo, trembling, breath hitching. "I didn't mean to," he choked out, tears streaming down his face. "I swear I didn't mean for it to." Then his phone rang, a shrill, jarring tone that sliced through the moment. He flinched. He checked the screen, eyes wide in fear, then stood up abruptly. I'll be back," he muttered. "I need to take this." And just like that, he walked out the gate, disappeared into the afternoon haze. Hours passed. He never returned. That night, just past midnight, a sudden gust of wind howled through the compound. The mourners, restless and afraid, gathered in the dim moonlight. Without warning, the casket flung open with a deafening crack. Screams erupted, but then everyone fell silent. Adaora's body lay as still as before, except now. Something new marred her chest. A dark symbol burned into her skin, twisted, unfamiliar, almost alive. No one had seen it during the initial dressing. Not the women who cleaned her, not the priestess, not her mother. "What is that?" someone whispered. Before anyone could answer, a thunderclap tore through the sky, shaking the ground beneath their feet. The air shifted, heavier, hungrier, and in that thick silence, one thing became terrifyingly clear. The dead were no longer the only ones watching. Something had been marked, and it wasn't done yet. To be continued. Make sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell, so you'll be the first to know when part 2 drops. You won't want to miss what happens next.